Доброго ранку, шановні.
Morning, dear colleagues. We'll begin our working day, and now we'll speak about issues of the final plan of reconstruction of the Poshtova Square. We'll have Ksenia Semenova, coordinator of the work of the Association of Bicyclists in Ukraine, Krasnoshchokov, Olena Pedai, head of NGO DemAliance, and Tyshchenko, who's coming late. He's from Society NGO. Morning. Thanks for coming. I would like to brief you about this event. Why we speak about this? I represent the Association of Bicyclists of Kyiv, and since 2014, when reconstruction of this square began, we spoke about issues related to movement of bicyclists. That square is set up according to the design that was published at that moment, and that square will not be accessible for such for people with disabilities. Now they built the transportation part of that place, but the pedestrian part, they started to work on that this year. The design is unclear. Is it the same we saw in 2013? Soon it will not be changed dramatically. So we received the information that it will be reviewed because they found some archaeological treasures under the square. We would like to draw your attention once again and underline what must be done for that square to be safe and accessible for disabled and also bicyclists. One of the speakers here, Ivan Marosevich, he was not able to come to this event because that office is not accessible. This building is not accessible because there's not access for disabled people. What do we want to do today? First of all, I would like to ask if we have a representative of the contractor from Шляхотранспортних споруд, road and transportation buildings. No? No. Okay, we would like to review the design that was published 2 years ago. Please put it on the monitor. And briefly, we would like to comment the design and requirements to accessible space from the point of view of polymobile or with restricted mobility of people, and also the safety of bicyclists here. I invite Oleksiy to comment from the point of view of restricted mobility people. Thank you, Ksenia. My name is Oleksiy Krasnoshchokov, a civic organization pidmoga.info. We are working on advocacy of for people who have restricted mobility, and also that includes people who use wheelchairs and families with kids, babies, and people who are under treatment and belong to this low mobile groups, and elderly people. That's quite a big part of people, according to calculations in Kyiv Council. It's more than 30% of people, and so the focus group is target group is quite big. When we reconstruct something, then we have to think about that group of people, because for them to be able to use that public space, because it's not just only about a private building, it's property of all the community. The design, is it constructed or not? I cannot comment because we don't have it in public. We have this plan which was published long ago, and we wanted just to find out if it was changed, was it adjusted or reviewed for this group of people. And anyways, Anyways, I wanted to see the representative of the contractor and the representative from the Kyiv Council who can help us control this design, this project for the community to control this for the situation like today. Someone wanted to come and tell you about the low mobile group's needs, and he was not able to get into this building. Just walk along Krasnoshchokov and just imagine that you have a wheelchair. You will not be able to get inside of any bank, hotel, or coffee shop. If we want to be a European capital, and we deserve to join Europe, or EU, it's better to say. It's better, and at those facilities that require reconstruction, we should introduce a universal design requirements. There are not many of them, so like accessibility with the help of rails under certain angle, not more than 4%, and or 4 degrees, and the breadth of those rails, absence of different obstacles, steps, etc. And also comfortable passages for on-surface passages for people to move. If we adjust our city to the needs of people who use wheelchairs and follow mobile people, automatically our city will become comfortable not only for them but also for bicyclists and for families with babies and other categories of people. That's why we invited clerks from Kyiv Council and also representatives from the construction contractor, and they don't have high interest to this topic, so we'll find some other channels to talk to them, and we'll try to control the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Oleksiy. I also wanted to remind again that this year we look for the completion of the reconstruction of this pedestrian part, and we'd like to draw your attention to accessibility at the moment when there is still an opportunity, a possibility to change the project so that we avoid double expenditure, because this is our common budget that the city spends to reconstruct some territory, and in reality we want to help to make a good project so that we avoid what happened to the transportation part, and they built some flyovers, which means that this is the category of construction that should be outside the city, but they ignored the needs of the community, except car owners, which were supposed to gain from this project, but this didn't happen as well. I'd like to tell you about the pros and cons of this project for bicycle riders. Let's call them bikers, bicycle riders. And this is a very important joint for them, as they are going from Podil to recreation zones through Khanev Island, and they also take this route to go to the center of the city. Also, there will be routes from Troyeshchina residential district to the center, so people may take this bicycle ride from their place of residence to where they work. Also, Bolon district is affected. In every direction we have either underground crossing and underground crossing, so the connection of Podil district with this square will be connected with the Podil will be connected with this square by an underground crossing with 6 meters width. But if we have a look at this, we see that this is the only access, and we don't understand yet whether it will be equipped with elevators, whether they will have appendices, and there's a steep slope there something like 18 degrees, which is unacceptable for less mobile groups of population, and it is also dangerous for bicycle riders. They could take this way down, but not up. As far as the embankment is concerned, as far as we know, there will be several restaurants by the Dnieper River, and if the access of cars is not close to this territory, then they will park there just as we see it now. As we see, they are parking under the flyover, and this means that the pedestrian access and bicycle access will be either blocked or impeded. The problem now is the bicycle movement from the center of the city to Podil, and if the pedestrian crossing on the bottom of Volodymyrsky Rise is closed, then bicycle riders could not go further. They will have to dismount and take the pedestrian crossing, underground pedestrian crossing, or they will have to take the third line of movement. This is a very popular direction of bicycle rides. If they don't find a new engineering solution there that provides for safe travel of bicycle riders from downtown Kyiv to Podil, then we will have a lot of accidents with the participation of bicycle riders, and it won't help the popularization of bicycle movement in the city. Besides, this project provides for the central entrance to the office and trade building. This is the place which the pedestrians will use in order to get to Trukhanev Island, to the pedestrian bridge. So we are looking at a high number of bicycle riders and pedestrians there. And if the project still has it, that the entrance to the office and trade building will be there, then this will be a very inconvenient place for the movement of any group of users of this square. And we would like very much to talk to those who commissioned this construction and invite them to think how this entrance could be moved, or to think again how people, how to avoid a real stampede there. And briefly in general about the welfare of this territory, we see a lot of asphalt there and very little trees, very few trees. This means that on a sunny summer day, when people would like to walk, there will be very little shadow, and asphalt is getting warmer, and the temperature there will be even higher than anywhere in the city, so this space will be uncomfortable to be there. In the handouts, we tried to analyze the square, to look at the square from the point of view of different criteria of safety, and we listed a lot of points that tell you what is safe and what is unsafe. You can see this in your handouts. And we also briefly listed our wishes and proposals and suggestions to change this project. I saw some new people come in. Are there any representatives of the road construction authority? Could you comment about if there have been any changes to the project and how the interests of less mobile groups are taken into account? Vasnitsov, director from the Road Building Authority. First of all, we will construct a pandus which will provide a opportunity to use it and to go down to the square from the Magdeburg Freedoms column. Then there won't be any parkings there. There will be a through ride from the Heaven Bridge to Trukhanov pedestrian bridge as far as the underground crossing at Borychotyk Street is concerned. There will be an accessible slope for the disabled people. The width of the crossing is 6 meters. And when you take the underground crossing across Borychotyk Street, you'll find there a lift which will elevate less mobile people to the ground. Then we also provide for a number of stairs with slopes, accessible slopes, and the crossings to the embankment. Restaurants have a lift which takes you directly to the embankment, and although it is within the restaurant, it can be used by anyone. As far as the green space is concerned, you know, we have changed things a bit, but taking into account the fact that there will be concrete and all this, we are now drawing some other plants, and we will plant trees there in barrels. As far as the road crossing of Sagaidatchny with Borychotyk streets is concerned, we leave there a traffic lights crossing, so you could take it as well. Everyone, do I understand rightly that there will be an overground crossing across Volodymyrsky Rise? Excuse me, do you provide for the lowering of the ridge of the pedestrian part? We will do this.
When can we see the design that is approved? Just to analyze it from our point of view, as to consider access for low mobile people and for cyclists, and from the point of view of universal European universal design. The design, we'll make a design, we can have a meeting with you, right? I can discuss it. We can do that right away after this, after holidays, yes. That issue will be resolved. We are working more than 40 years on this issue with you. The last question you have not commented. Yeah, there is about central entrance and also 6 square meters, 6 meters broad. 12,000 people can pass at the same time. If that is the calculation for people to go one direction and backwards, if we speak about the exit from the trade center, so it will be just a ground where there will be people, so it will slow down the movement of people and the number of people who can pass. Maybe they can pass, but it will not be comfortable. That is a transit passage from metro to Borychotyk. Have you considered expected changes of passengers flow because of those discoveries, archaeological discoveries. It's not, the difference is not big. Do you have some numbers? No. Before everything is put into concrete, what about trees? There will be lawns and trees. But we cannot make it all the tunnel and underground passage. Okay, thank you. Then after we can share our contacts and we can agree on a meeting with you. Just to see the design in details and to consider all the recommendations we have. Yeah, we will sit down and together and discuss it. Yuri Chepenko, main architect of the project. There's misunderstanding here. It's an old picture. We took away barrels and that you have here. There will be about 3 meters of ground, and there will be trees. And those trees, they die in barrels. That's not convenient. Second, my colleague told those big steps down to the river, and it's not planned that bicyclists will drive there. They will have to stop. They will have to take the bike. It's for strollers, for mummies with babies, not for disabled. For disabled, there are elevators, because to make railings for disabled, for them to be able to use them, it's impossible. So that's why there will be, in restaurants, there will be elevators. As to the ability to pass of how many passengers can pass, that is agreed with the Metropolitan. And that is a norm, 6 meters broad, and also they have a special lift or elevator for disabled people. Thank you. We have Igor Tyshchenko. He's an analytical center CIDES. And could you comment briefly the project from the point of view of city construction and development? And then we'll move to questions or discussions with the audience. What I wanted to say. We are dealing with the issue of Poshtova Ploshcha since 2012. When they began the reconstruction, it was clear that the designer doesn't consider it's not no obstacles. It doesn't include requirements and needs of all people, not only those cars and clients of the trade center. I have one question now, and when people, not only experts, can see that design, not only what is developed by Шляхотранспортних Споруд company, but investment part, what is that done by design institutions? The architects that spoke, they are from the general directorship, or from the point of view of those who order? The question is not. We need to see the real design, not the one that is swimming in internet, but we would like to see the public design, because that is the public space, and all Kyiv will visit it, and a publication of the design and funds for the construction. That's not only just a goodwill of city authorities and investor. That's a goodwill to residents of Kyiv. So you need to publish. As to an obstacles approach. 3 years have passed. Transportation part is over. It was all unveiled by the government 2 or 3 times. They work for construction for pedestrians. Nothing has changed, and so I don't see anything. A cafeteria was taken down. So no, and you will not. Comments, maybe? Okay. We're done. Those who came for this briefing, maybe you have comments, recommendations, questions to what you heard and saw. You've heard and you've seen. Oleksiy Krasnoshchokov, leader of Democratic Alliance in the City Council, thanks for the initiative to hold this event. I believe that this is absolutely unacceptable in the 21st century to build a square or any facility in the city which does not consider requirements as to access for low mobile groups for bicyclists. We Ukrainians are rich people, but we're not stupid to do that several times. I wouldn't like us to, before the date, to some famous date like in the Soviet Union, to accept this, to do the acceptance things, and then to reconstruct it again for every citizen and guest of the capital to be able to use the square without any obstacle. We understand that sooner or later this is the issue which is important for all, and whether we have children, we have 2 boys in the family, small boys, and in the summer when I planned to open, we expecting to go, and it's not accessible. How can we move freely? And it's not only about families with babies, and we have several hundred thousands, and in the capital more than about 40,000 babies are born every year, and there are a lot of families with babies, and also we have a lot of disabled people, bicyclists, cyclists, and they come to streets as blossoms on these spring trees. So that's why any facility, including Poshtova should take into consideration all requirements as to access for all categories of people. So I would like to call, first of all, I would like to tell NGOs and who care about this issue that from deputies will support you in everything. I discussed these issues with several heads of factions, and there is understanding that the square should be accepted with clear requirements, and the square should be accessible. Representatives of the design company, I listen to them, but I'm confused. Somebody told me that that the grass will be grow here and the trees will grow there, and it's not clear with all the aspects. There is nothing better today except once again to publish the whole design completely for us to have a good discussion around that for all the issues to be resolved. After we saw how they discovered artifacts of Kyiv, it has happened that we live under conditions of low trust. That's because of many years of not normal policy of local authorities and in Kyiv and on the national level. That's why today, for us to prevent any social tension, etc., any step should be, anything should be discussed, covered, and we have a meeting between NGOs and deputies and designers and to discuss it and without an opportunity to download it from a site. So it's not normal. Everybody who's involved in the project provide complete access, and because the construction goes on, I think it's not correct to postpone the discussion between people and the community. Let's postpone until holidays are over. No. Go have a discussion, have a look, and later you can have more concrete discussions on concrete issues you find there. Thank you.
I'm Ksenia Semenova. I'm a journalist and a Kyiv resident. I'm especially interested in the underground crossing with 6 meters width. I see that at other underground stations these demands are not satisfied, where the passing capacity is diminished by the local trade points, and at rush hours you cannot actually go through. So I'm asking you, are there any guarantees that provide for the free space there, that there won't be trading posts there? And again, why we should have there an office and entertainment building? There are a lot of such in Kyiv. Another question? Oh. No, not a question. As far as trading booths are concerned, this is not the question for us. This is for a special inspection who are watching the situation, and they are removing those stalls and booths, but 6 meters is a wide enough passage. This is responsible for 13,000 people an hour crossing this, and we have also agreed this plan with the underground authority. It is all according to set norms, and we have agreed this with the Kyiv Metropolitan Underground. And this question is not to me. The underground is responsible for the underground crossing, and the overground crossing is an organizational announcement. Please switch off your mobile phones and please talk into the mics, as we have online broadcast. Any other questions and comments as far as the project is concerned? No. Okay, then, as a result of our discussion, I have a request to the customer. Let's agree for a meeting today or tomorrow so that we get the project from you and we can discuss and see in detail what was taken into account, what was not, and what we can do so that our recommendations are taken into account in a renovated project. I don't know very well what mechanism we should involve so that this project becomes public for all Kyiv residents, but we have to think about it so that not only we who have seen this project today, but any person who lives in Kyiv and is interested in what's going on and what will be on the Poshtova Square could get an access to this information. And my question is also about reconstruction. What are the deadlines there? What's the schedule? As for the upper side, we plan to finish it this year. The project is done by top-down method. We work with the ground from beneath, from below, and we plan to complete the office and the entertainment center next year. So the upper side will be finished this year and the lower side next year. Thank you very much. Maybe some other comments? Yes. I'd like to comment. I heard about the Pandu slope, which is allegedly done not for disabled people, but for other people. But how long shall we talk about this? For instance, this building has been made also for people, for not disabled people. We will, of course, look into the project, but I think that this is a principled position, including Ivan Marusevich, who could not get to this press conference as he wasn't able to reach this building because it was built not for him. Our criterion is 4 degrees of slope, but I would not like to hear again that this is not for you, but for someone else. Again, please, all the remarks into the microphone. The slope there is 6 degrees, and this corresponds to all requirements. No other comments. I suggest that we finish. We'll talk to the directorate's representatives and we will agree on a meeting to talk about the project. Thank you very much. We finish with this, and our next briefing about the situation in the anti-terrorist operation zone is at 12:30.